So the council recognized the need to leverage the digital and the technology to improve the efficiency and streamline the processes and enhance our customer experience and service delivery. And then eventually we could make some savings as well. So from a tech perspective, the automation journey at Surrey County Council has been a strategic and a phased approach, starting with the deployment of the uh, robots bots with RPA, and then we've got the chatbots, and now, as I mentioned, we are moving towards some AI with some intelligent automations like document understanding. So, but yeah, I mean, just as I said, we've invested into the chatbots, we've invested into the RPA since 2019, and then we have deployed over 50 bots so far across different processes to improve the business efficiency. That these bots were designed to handle routine tasks, and we made our staff job really easy to free up their time on more to focus them to more complex processes and value added tasks. So initial phase of the automation, the RPA, was a learning experience for the council, helping them to understand the potential of the automation and how best to implement it really.
That's great, Mehmet.
Yeah.
But
I can talk about that just for hours, but yeah, I mean, that's a nutshell, really.
No, it's great to see such passion in what you're doing, because it obviously shows how important it has been to the strategy of Surrey County Council. But when you went down the road of bringing in a chatbot, what was the key problem you were trying to solve by bringing in a chatbot, and what drove that need within the organization?
So as I mentioned, we embarked our automation journey with RPAs and then chatbots, and these were deployed to address a variety of challenges that we were facing. Some of the primary problems was, as I mentioned, increasing demand to the council services, and that was coupled with really limited budgets and resources. So deployment of the automation and chatbots was seen as a way to handle this increased demand efficiently without significantly increasing costs or resources to our services. And then the second thing was really the customer experience. So the council wanted to enhance the customer experience by providing near to 24/7 availability to the service, and chatbots were seen as a way to improve that immediate responses to common queries like frequent asked questions. And also, we wanted to reduce the wait times and improve the overall service satisfaction. The last thing I want to mention is that efficiency and productivity was important, as I mentioned, to sort of like streamline our process and increase our productivity in the services. So by automating these tasks with chatbots and RPA, we aim to really free up staff time to focus on to their valuable value-adding tasks and to more complex issues.
And there's obviously the key thing for me, and the questions we get from a lot of people, Mehmet, now you've been on this journey, is what have been the benefits for the staff? You've mentioned it there, that you've freed up time, you've got them working on value, higher value work. But also, what's the feedback from the public about the service?
Yeah, so we have deployed 4 chatbot projects so far since last year, or 1.5 years really. And 2 of them, I think we're going to just maybe showcase them today. School admissions chatbot and online financial assessment chatbot. They were really standing out, really. The school admission chatbot was designed to address the several challenges, including high call volumes, especially during peak school application periods, and also to the need to simplify the access to the information. Since the chatbot went live, staff have seen several benefits. So first of all, the chatbot has been able to provide information that is readily available on our web pages. So that reduced the number of calls to the console. This eventually started to save time to staff and allowed them to focus on more complex tasks. And as I mentioned, the chatbot increases service availability close to 24/7, and that ensured our residents can access the information even outside of service hours. This then reduced the number of missed requests or calls to the console. And we found ourselves really managing the peak times better, especially during the school application periods. This then reflected to reduced waiting times and improved customer experience. An online financial assessment chatbot was implemented to address the challenges, again, similar high call volumes from customers needing assistance with their applications when they apply to the benefits. And we wanted to build trust in the digital process because we wanted to sort of like transfer the applications to the digital channels, really. Again, the staff seen some benefits in customer experience, making it really easy for our customers to complete their applications online and reduce the need for them to call the console and contact to live agent. Although we integrated the live agent to the chatbot, one of our aims was to reduce the resource that we are using for live agents. So overall, I think we managed the demand better, especially during peak times. This has reduced pressure on the contact center and also the online financial assessment team. As per your question about how the public embraced this, really. So the chatbot offering from County Council, I think received in a positive manner, and I think we evidenced this by the data collected and the feedback we received. So we did it in two ways. First, the user research. So we conducted user research with groups such as the Surrey Coalition of Disabled People to gather feedback on accessibility. This feedback was then incorporated into the accessibility requirements of the Druid platform. And that was really important. And that ensured that the chatbot is accessible to all users, including those with disabilities. And also we conducted equality impact assessments to understand the needs of different groups and identify any potential disadvantages caused by the automation or chatbots or overall digital. And this helped ensure that the chatbot is inclusive and doesn't disadvantage any user group inadvertently. There are more things that we did around privacy notices, data protection assessment, etc. But what we've seen from the direct customer feedback perspective, data talks, so direct feedback from our customers showed that our 4 live chatbot engaged last year 25,000 customers with 25,000 customers. And they have achieved around 80% deflection rate from live agent. So that means only 20% of the interactions required escalation to a live agent. So out of our users, who rated the chatbots, 45%, approximately 45% gave a score of 4 or 5 star rating. That is slightly above the industry, which I suppose 30%, as you might confirm, Mark. So this feedback indicates a good customer satisfaction with chatbot service.
So that is the perfect time for us to bring in Elena to actually show people the chatbot working, because with such passion, Mehmet, it's been such a success. But let's see what the public see.
Yeah, so Elena, of course. I will share my screen, and also I want to emphasize a little more on what Mehmet was actually saying, that the virtual assistants nowadays, they actually evolved for being just simple IVR solutions and some simple FAQ solutions. And nowadays you can actually do and increase the customer satisfaction or the end user satisfaction with actually having a business process data in the end. So something is pulled out in a system or is registered in a system, because the virtual assistants nowadays are actually providing, from my perspective, what they say they would have had provide 10 years ago. So the technology is there, it evolved a lot, and nowadays we can use them either on the mobile application or either via voice as well. I will share my screen. As Mehmet was saying as well, I'm going to showcase you a little bit one of the two virtual assistants deployed in the Surrey Council. We have first the adult learning virtual assistant. As you may see here, I'm on the official website in the adult learning section, and nowadays on the right side I have a virtual assistant ready to help me with any information that I need in regards with courses or events that are available in the next period. I can seek for each one of those, and I can search for a different course that I want to apply for, and even then I can see all the information regarding the price details, time, date and time, and I can have that booked also in my calendar. This is just one way of actually exposing a virtual assistant. So this is the most common way that we see used as from most of our clients, being embedded in a simple website application, but it can also be embedded in a mobile application or be embedded in a single sign-on authentication if we want to give, for example, a very personalized context and personalized conversation to each one of the users. As I'm opening my conversation with Surrey, the virtual assistant, I can see that I'm conducting the conversation in an anonymous manner. So I am a simple visitor on the website. And as I'm opening the conversation, I already have a welcome message saying exactly which are the questions and what information is Surrey can help me with. I can write freely as well, and I can say to Surrey, okay, please guide me. We have 7 adult learning centers in Surrey at the following locations that are extracted dynamically from the system. This is just one way of actually conducting the conversation, because when we're talking about conversational AI piece, we're talking about different pillars. One of the pillars is natural language understanding and natural language processing, which is actually done in Druid via intent recognition. And nowadays, via the OpenAI versions for generative AI, we can also add, besides these modules, we can add as well generative AI in order to generate ongoing conversations all over again. So we have the conversational AI piece made of NLU and NLP, meaning that we're having intents and conversations built in the Druid platform. And then we can add the capabilities of integrations and seeking for different events available in the next period by doing an API call REST activity to one of the systems that is exposing that information, or calling an RPA, unattended robot, that will bring the information out in the context for each one of the users. So using a conversational platform and a conversational layer above all the applications that are used inside the Surrey City Council, but not all the applications but not only the applications from there, but also triggering RPA processes. Is the first step in my perspective for the automation part. So I said to Siri, okay, please guide me. What can you do for me? And I can say, okay, which are the photography classes that you're having scheduled in the next period in Guildford, for example. So I provided the intent that I was looking for, photography classes, and also the location in which I'm interested in. So via the named entity recognition and the conversational AI piece and layer from the back, we extracted from one sentence all the information that we need in order to conduct the conversation in a very guided manner in order to narrow down the search and provide to the end user the most appropriate event for him to schedule on. Can you tell me also the days that you are interested in? I can say, okay, I'm interested in any day. And right now it's providing and performing a search into the system, gathering all the photography classes available in the next period for me. I can see the information that I received regard with the start date, end date, the days available, the hours, the locations, who will be the tutor, and what will be the final price for actually enroll to the digital photography, the art of smartphone photography workshop for the beginners. If I want to see even more details, I can continue further the conversation, and I receive even more information that are not displayed at a first glance. And then via the guided conversation, I can have the information provided directly by the virtual assistant in the conversation, or I can enroll directly and add that event in my Outlook calendar. So this is just one way of actually using the information exposed by Surrey City Council inside the conversation, conducting the conversation in a guided manner, and provide and help the end user to actually book one of the classes in his calendar. This is the first use case for the adult learning part. Then we're having as well the secondary applicants for the school admission. So we're seeing that we're having the same embedment on the virtual assistant disposed on the website, but nowadays I'm conducting the conversation in another context and in another intent. So this means that on each one of the pages on which I'm actually logged in, or I'm actually browsing, the virtual assistant will know to actually display for me the different context and the different intents available for that. So it's always communicating with what on and the channel on which the conversation is embedded on. And as you may see, I have at the beginning a guided menu, because from our previous implementations, we saw that we have to give somehow a hint to each one of the users in order to see exactly which are the main functionalities that they can do using a virtual assistant. But I can write freely as well, and I can say I am moving to Surrey and I need a school place for my kid. And right now, again, because I have a conversation already built in the back, an intent-driven conversation, it will guide me in order to provide me the right answer for my question. I'm moving to Surrey from within the UK. And right now, I can see all the information that I have to ensure that I have available for when I want to take a school place for one of my kids. How do I apply for a school outside of Surrey, for example? And at the end of each one of the conversation, we're actually, in this implementation that we're having for Surrey City Council, we're actually asking for feedback from each one of the users. So we're going to know, and we're going to see also in the dashboards and analytics part in the virtual assistant, in the platform, in the DRID platform, exactly how each one of the actually conversation performed. We can see as well which were the drop-off points, for example, in order to actually then come over to each one of the conversations and maybe remove a specific step that we're seeing that most of the users are actually dropping in the conversation. I will say that I am satisfied with the answer provided by the virtual assistant, and that my overall experience was good for today. I can also ask what is the deadline for applications. And again, because we're talking about this year, the information is retrieved from the system. We have a conversation in the back, an intent-driven one, and I receive directly the answer inside the conversation. I can also be redirected to one of the websites where much more broader information is displayed on. but I can even stay here and continue further the conversation with the virtual assistant. As you may see, I'm having, and the conversation itself is guiding me in order to try to narrow down my search and also to provide me the right appropriate answer via the conversational AI layer that we're having in the back. This is the place where the information is coming from a source that is already defined and already intent-driven in the conversation. But nowadays, in the last 2 months at Druid, we actually released a new feature which is allowing us to actually provide a simple URL. So if you're having already the information available in a knowledge base, for example, or on a specific website page, we can embed and scrape that website in order to transform that in a data source for the virtual assistant without having directly a conversation in the back build. So right now I just provided to the virtual assistant this URL from the Surrey Council adult care payment, social care payment. I provided to the virtual assistant, and the virtual assistant via the knowledge-based capability already extracted all the information and all the questions with all the corresponding answers without for me actually configuring one of the conversational flows. And they are actually right now available inside the conversation for me. So as long as we don't have to have a maintenance job. So we're going to see if the information from the, you have to maintain only a data source. So as long as the information from the data source is actually changing, we're going to see always the updated information inside the conversation. So for example, if I want to say, okay, what information do I need to provide for social care services? It already extracted the content exactly like I was providing that from the website itself. So this is just a very few use cases where we can actually embed a virtual assistant, just answering to frequently asked questions, having an integration in the back in order to offer a much more streamed overall context on the conversation part. But moreover, everything that we're doing inside the conversation as end user, we're going to see logged into the Druid platform in the analytics part. So already Druid is offering a set of KPIs. Right now I have here our standard KPIs. Are not the one from the Surrey, it's just the standard solution that we're having on the KPIs part. This can be personalized as well. So in each moment of the conversation, we can actually see which were the users that actually engaged in the conversation, how many of them dropped, which were the most used channels on which the conversation were actually starting on, which was the origin on each one of the channels, how many of the users are actually entering from the mobile applications or from mobile itself, and how many of them are just entering from the desktop part. We have as well, because Mehmet was talking about the routing to a human agent conversation. So when embedding a virtual assistant, we can have different fallbacks. For example, when the bot doesn't know exactly how to answer to a specific question that requires a human in the loop, we can route the conversation to a human agent, because this is actually natively built into the platform. And for this specific functionality, we provide a set of KPIs that will actually allow us to see how many of conversations were answered in a specific period, or which is the peak time where most of the conversations and most of the load on the agents are coming by. And if we're talking about the agents, as you may see, I'm not having, actually also as an end user, I'm not having available different bots. We're having just one virtual assistant that is actually taking care of the school admission part, the other learning program, and we can have the same Surrey virtual assistant available as well for the contact center agents in order to help them to increase their responsiveness inside the conversation and to help them to trigger RPA processes. Is, for example, someone just forgot where is the new event, upcoming event coming, or if they want to perform just a simple reset password. So we can also trigger automations from the context of a help desk agent or a customer support team that will have their own virtual assistant at their disposal in mobile in order to complete their tasks faster. As well, as I told you, because of the automation side, we can also build ROIs and specify ROIs inside the conversation. So we can also attach nowadays a business impact on the processes that were actually automated via the virtual assistant in integration with RPA and the other services that are available inside the company.
That's great, Elena.
Thank you.
We've gone through this at breakneck pace here this morning, and today was just a taster of what Surrey have done. Obviously, we're more than happy to talk to you all individually. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions. The chat is being monitored by Diana and Dean. Just before we move on to Amanda, just a quick 30-second wrap up, Mehmet. Fantastic to see all the work that's been done here. But what's next? Just give us a 30-second synopsis of what's next for Surrey County Council.
So in terms of what's next, our strategy on chatbots and AI will define what is next in the next 3 years. So we want to really just focus on defining the target operating model and to sort of like align the chatbot strategy with our resources. And we want to also sort of like look at the new capabilities of the Druid platform, like integration into ChatGPT and more AI stuff, and also AI capabilities of UiPath platform, just like how we can use document understanding, etc. So and also we have begun to explore the use cases around AI to enhance the capabilities of our services. And also we want to explore what we can do in the internal processes, as you might have seen already. So most of our chatbot projects have deployed externally now. So we are looking at internally how we can really just transform some of the internal process as well. So lastly, I think we will leverage the data. So the data is key. And as Elena showed, the dashboard provides some data, but behind that, there are more data coming from our customers, sort of like to understand the insights, how we can continually improve our chatbot functionality, and AI will be our next step, really.
That's great, Mehmet. Thanks very much. Brilliant story. Hugely jumps out at me. 80% deflection of calls into the contact center. And obviously you're dealing with a generation now. There's a lot of people, they just want instant responses at a time that suits them. And you're now providing that service, which is brilliant. So
yeah, just one correction, Mark, just 80% deflection to live agent, not to contact center. I think this is really important to correct. Yeah, so live agent and contact center is a bit different, but yeah, 80% to live agent, I think. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's great. So next, now I get to talk to an old colleague. Amanda, how are you?
I'm very well, Mark. How are you?
Okay, so obviously this setting the scene here. AVP are a platinum partner of UiPath. We're also a partner of Druid. Amanda looks after local government within UiPath. You were involved with the Surrey story from the start. If you just want to set the scene, Amanda, of where you see UiPath going in local government and obviously the relationship you have with Druid. So what's next for UiPath and Druid?
So I'm obviously started the chatbot journey with Druid with Surrey County Council, as Mehmet's articulated, and was really delighted to be part of that. It was a learning experience, I think, for all concerned. And on the back of that, we've learned a huge amount around where UiPath combined with Druid, customers, especially in local government, can actually get the best of both worlds and really change the way in which they engage with residents and citizens to drive much better outcomes, not only for them, but also for staff internally. So for me, working with local government in this space, I see that combination of the power of a chatbot and the power of UiPath combined really driving forward change. And it's definitely an area where we're seeing a lot more interest, a lot more perhaps maturity in the market. A few years ago, people were quite scared of using things like chatbots, or they would just use chatbots for, as Elena articulated, frequently asked questions or just signposting. We're now moving into this much more mature world where you can leverage the chatbot to interact with your customer, but then on the back of that, really use the power of the UiPath platform to go away and get the information that the customer might need, pull that back seamlessly. So in essence, moving to a world where you can provide the types of service that you get 24/7 with the likes of Amazon and Google. That's the way in which, dare I say it, local government is actually starting to go and drive, which is really quite exciting, and it's great to be part of.
And just the one thing from us, Amanda, is what do you see is what's next, from a UiPath perspective in local government, and what are the challenges that are being brought to you by clients in this area?
So the challenges, in essence, remain the same as Mehmet has kind of articulated already. Increasing demand for services, reducing budgets, but that's coupled with, obviously, cost of living crisis. You've got increased compliance. Brexit has played a part, and at the moment, the maturity of some of the residents and expectations of what they want in terms of service. So all of those things combined almost create like a perfect storm, and it's a real great opportunity to actually use technology like UiPath combined with Druid, the way in which Surrey have started to deploy, to actually change the way in which we can actually use the limited resources and the limited money that we've got, but meet customer expectations and demands. So within UiPath, what we're doing is taking the existing technology and platforms, the sort of unattended type robot technology, but building on that, and now using, as Mehmet's mentioned, more AI automated processes. So not only obviously Druid and the areas that Elena has shown, but also using things like document understanding, communications mining, clipboard AI. So that's really a new world in many respects for a lot of local authorities, some more mature than others. Surrey are obviously on that journey, on that pathway, but I think that's what we're seeing now in the way in which the market's moving in the local government space.
Brilliant. That's great, Amanda. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a delight. It's always a delight to hear Mehmet. So.
No, and we thought it was very important because the Surrey solution is such a strong showing of how the partnership between Druid and UiPath works.
Yeah, totally.
And how they work hand in hand with each other. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to introduce a colleague of mine, Marco. Marco is going to show us a real world scenario, but it's in a demonstration that we've built. It's a challenge that faces all councils. And what we're going to do is Marco is going to take you through the scenario. This solution that we've built here was built in partnership with Druid, UiPath, and it was hosted in Amazon Web Services. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pass on to Marco, who's going to go through the scenario. But what really resonated to me is that constantly we hear from clients that they get hundreds and hundreds and thousands, and in some cases, millions of emails in. So how can you actually stop the need for the emails to come in, or stop the need for the phone calls, and empower people to actually make the changes in real time themselves? So Marco, we're going to go through this scenario. I won't steal any of your thunder. I'll let you go through the solution and take it from there.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'll be presenting the video. Sorry, I'm trying to just get it. Okay, thank you. So this is a scenario we've been looking at, hopefully in a not too distant future, where adult social care can be assisted with some of the technologies we discussed today. So as a bit of background, what we consider was a person who has an elderly person who is taken care of by his daughter and has early stage dementia, and their council where he lives starts to offer some advanced digital services that can help them still stay within his home, as we know, is probably the best for his well-being, but help them monitor. So his daughter has been provided with access and with a way for her to sort of be the guardian of her father's well-being as well. So she would be using a software token that would help her sort of authenticate when she needs to access those services. So the plan with this, the idea with this scenario is that we want to show how we can sort of help with automate big volumes of this type of low value work where it's mostly administrative and fairly straightforward, and help create capacity for those overstretched public services to focus on people with real needs. As you can see here on this diagram, the flow would be sort of going from the requester, which is Brendan's daughter. She would be doing an address change request because she noticed that his post was showing an incorrect address and worried that he might not be getting all of that information. Using the chatbot to communicate in a natural way, and then the robot would help act on those requests and make changes in systems that would normally be found around councils and other public services. So just as a final point, obviously the concept we are showing is that the chatbots would do the chatting and the robots would do the work. This support and this sort of symbiosis would help provide the service to a level that we already heard, that the benefits that are being brought in Surrey and even increase in other areas, especially pointing out that this can be done through various channels at the times that fit the customers. Going forward, so I'll be moving into the demonstration, and apologies, this is me fumbling through the in the video, me fumbling through the moving on from the PowerPoint into the demonstration space. What we are using here is a web channel to communicate with the robot. Sorry, just a second. I'll be almost there. The chatbot itself is also, as you are seeing here, is able to do small talk. So it can be trained to provide some answers even when the topic is not so well known. But I'm sort of just doing a little bit of that with the chatbot here. And once we are ready, we can provide our intent, which will where we will ask the chatbot to do what we want, in my case, through an introduction. The chatbot itself, as we said, can cover multiple languages, which is very relevant in the context of various councils in the UK. In our case, we'll go with English just for ease of presentation. And this is where the chatbot starts with the guided intents. So it presents me with what would I like to do today. So I'm entering my intent by asking that I want to change address for my father. And you may notice that there is a few typos, but the natural language understanding of the robot is able to understand that and still continue with the conversation. And as you can see, at this point, I'm asked to use my token. And you've noticed on the right-hand side, this is the remote desktop, which your digital robot worker from UiPath would do the work. Is getting activated and is doing the validation of my request. So that token is getting validated in the database. If it's valid, it will take me to the next point where I would want to enter the postcode for the new address. Again, that's going through validation and through screen tabs in the chat, so that I avoid doing any mistakes by entering and providing an incorrect address. And you might have noticed there was a little bit of a glitch. My mouse double clicked by mistake, but the chatbot was able to recover the context, even though I sort of duplicated my requests, but it was still able to continue and recover from that. So at this point, we are sure that we want to make the address change. And on the right-hand side, you're seeing now the robot getting on with the job and making the changes. So it goes into first one of the systems, looks up the person. Once we locate information about the person we are looking to make the change for, it will be able to select that data and then go on at doing the changes to the address. So it's important that this sits, as I was suggesting, in a remote desktop, so in an AWS environment, a secure environment that only works with the selected systems that you have agreed and provided for the robot to work with. And the robot would work and log in using the same security settings that a normal worker would to do the job. So as you can see here, it entered the information and then it logs out of this for security purposes, closes the that screen, moves into the next system. By the way, all of these are currently, from our side, these are mock systems, but obviously these are standard systems for public services, as I was saying. So you would go into the next system, log into that one, again, perform a lookup to locate the person we are interested in updating information for. It would search again using the information we've provided. At the moment, we are using first name and last name, but we could expand obviously to use other information if we want to make sure that we have the appropriate accuracy for locating the person for which we need to do the task. And again, once the information has been located, the robot would select that information, then edit it. Even if information is the same, as we can see, the place and the postcode area is still the same, the robot would still make sure that it's being written with the information we've received in the request, even though it has to repeat some of this, but it doesn't mind really. And so once it's saved, to avoid failure demand, the robot also makes records. So it would make screenshots in our case from both of the systems as soon as it did the job. And we'll ask the user back to the chat, so it will hand over back to the chatbot, and the chatbot can then ask the user whether they want to receive a confirmation of the change to avoid any callbacks into the call centers, and to make sure that everybody is informed about the change, especially the person requesting it. So in this case, I'm using my own email, and I can pass it on into the chat. And again, we will see the chatbot will use that information, send it over and to the robot, and then the robot will then perform the action by sending the email with the supporting record that the change has been done. And finally, I will move into my Outlook or into the inbox, and we'll see that we have now received that email, and with the attached proof of change for the actions done by the robot and chatbot collaboratively. So that is really what I wanted to show to you, and I'll hand over back to Mark and for further questions and discussion.
Thanks, Marco. Just one or two quick things there, Marco.
Yes.
In a scenario like this, and the challenge that you know from dealing with councils, you know, how easy was it to deploy a solution like this? You know, from starting the engagement to getting the robot up and running. How long would something like this take to deploy?
The deployment itself normally is not a huge exercise. It would normally be done in days, but mainly depends, obviously, to do it appropriately with the appropriate security and information governance guidelines for each of the councils. So the robot infrastructure generally, I would say, would take, if all approvals are lined up, etc. So it would take not more than a week to establish the environment, making sure that it can communicate with the services. The intents and the chatbot itself is also can be done in a similar time scale to be able to provide meaningful answers. So, and obviously leverage some of the knowledge that also Elena shared in her presentation.
Yeah, I think the one thing that really jumped out to us as an organization in ABP as to why we wanted to embrace these technologies was I'll be polite how I say this, is when the moment that you're sitting at home and it's 8 o'clock in the evening, and you've realized you've just forgot to do that task that you were supposed to do, whether it was ring the council or ring the service provider you wanted to ring, and suddenly you've realized you can't do it until 9 o'clock in the morning when the contact center opens again. So what we're aiming to do is to show, and I think Mehmet, you really said it really strongly there, is that you're giving the citizens the ability to engage with you 24/7. You're enabling them to have that moment, because people's work lives are so busy. It's when they sit down in the evening and they realize, oh, I never got to do that. I now have the opportunity, but the provider they want to deal with is not available to the next morning. And what we want is for people to realize that, I think Elena said it really well, was that the old days of chatbots, which just gave you regurgitated FAQs, are gone. With the power of Druid and the power of UiPath, you can see the end task can be completed, and you can get the email back and know that this has been updated, this task has been completed, and you've ticked another thing off your box. I've done that, I have that resolved. So that's what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to show people how, if they embrace these technologies, they can solve these type of scenarios, they can provide a better service. But it's a service, as Amanda reiterated, that companies are giving and people expect it. It's an unfair world, but they're comparing you to companies with billion-dollar resources, and they're expecting you to give a similar type of service. But if you utilize the technology correctly, you can give that type of a service. You can embrace that. You can bring it in. And Surrey County Council are proof that this is, and I also, what was really interesting for me was the point that Mehmet was, in the case of schools, it's high volume at very particular times of the year. But people start thinking about that. They've got to register someone for a school, but it's everybody thinking that at the exact same time. So how do they manage that high volume? So what I'm going to do is open it up to any Q&A that may have come in, any questions that may have come in. So I don't know if Diana or Dean, if there's any questions that have come through the channel. I can't see them here myself. Also, what they're on, if someone wants to read out the questions, I can't see them on the LinkedIn page here, apologies. Or Dean, if you want to join in and read out the questions for us, that would be great. What I am going to say is that if we can post in the LinkedIn channel, my email address is mark.o'connor@ABP Consultancy. And if anybody has any queries and wants to come through to us, we're more than happy to make an appointment. There is one question that's come through here for Mehmet. In relation to people are focusing on, against the staff side of things, and the challenges that you've been facing, asking, are people embracing it because of the sheer volume of workload that they already had? And are they seeing the benefits of bringing in automation to handle that workload?
I think it has two aspects, doesn't it? I mean, just we're looking at from a staff perspective and a residents perspective. So obviously for staff, we've articulated the benefits that we've achieved so far. But for the residents, I think there are more work that we need to do to understand the satisfaction rates, and as I sort of articulated, so the 45 or 40% of satisfaction rate is not enough. So we need to do more. We need to do more around that. So we need to understand the user needs and why our users or residents need more, and what how we can really build the trust going forwards. So that's what we need to. So we need to sort of I think, not only just focus onto the platform or technology, but to our residents, and how we can really just understand their feedbacks, their needs better, and design the platforms and products accordingly.
Yeah, I think it's important that you have a scenario, you have a group of people who want to contact your contact center. You'll have a group of people who want to send an email. You'll have a group of people who want the instantaneous being able to respond. I think being able to handle this multi-channel will enable people to be able to get a response as quickly as possible, rather than the old scenario of everybody picking up the phone at the exact same time and having long wait times. I think this omni-channel of being able to offer this has probably been very important to Surrey. Would you agree with that, Mehmet?
Yeah, I think I've got also an observation around this one. I mean, just people prefer chatbots because they see this one more seamless than waiting in a call queue, really. So they can sort of like, just reach out to any conversation whenever they want. And having the transcripts after that, I think that is also sort of like give them some trust and confidence, so they can refer back again if they need to. So especially for the sort of like people that has some language barriers, chatbot comes into rescue, really, just for them to engage better. So that's why I think we should be giving the people sort of like, that, more choices around how they want to engage with us. So we're seeing that impact. We have started seeing that impact. But I agree with you, Mark.
Perfect. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to thank everybody for being available for the webinar and the people who've joined us today. We will be sending a recording around to people. I know there's a number of people who couldn't attend this morning, and they're looking forward to seeing the recording. Mehmet, brilliant to hear the story of Surrey. It's really powerful. Elena, thank you for showing us the power of the Druid platform and how it's working with Mehmet and team. Amanda, always nice to talk to you again.
Always a pleasure.
And it's great to see, because obviously I've heard how this Surrey journey has started, and it's really powerful to hear that they have 50 robots, multiple channels on Druid, really embracing digital transformation. And Marco, it's great to see the solution that you've built there for the councils. But it's a real scenario of how many different times do you need to change something when you need to contact the contact center? The address is wrong, or something's wrong, or you want to amend something. The ability to empower yourself to make that change. And as Mehmet said, the ability to have multiple languages, because we have to realize that a lot of people, English may not be their first language. And they have to have the ability to be able to embrace, and that's where the chatbot really comes into itself. So it's been great to have you all today. Really, thanks for all the people joining us on the webinar. Thanks for all the speakers here. And if anybody has any queries, please reach out to me. My email address is mark.o'connor@abpconsultancy.com. Thanks very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.